Welcome back to another episode. So if you watch this channel very long, you know that I love gimmick covers, especially 90s gimmick covers. I love them. So here's a gimmick cover from the 90s that I've never beheld with my own eyes, and I'm going to open it for the first time ever in more than 30 years, and I'm going to see what kind of amazing gimmick cover this is. So first of all, we've got the Mighty Magnor from the creators of Gru. That would be Sergio Aragones and Mark Evanier, who by now in the 2020s have had a career in comics and animation that spans 50 years. So in the 90s, over at Malibu Comics, they published their superhero collab, The Mighty Magnor. This is the first appearance, I believe, of Mighty Magnor. And on the cover, it's kind of funny, because we've got to focus on Sergio Aragones, his caricature of himself, plus a couple of kids, and Magnor is off in the back. So I remember seeing this comic in the 90s, but never really paying attention to it. So now, 30 years later, 35 years later, we're going to open it. But first, Sergio says, "Hola, amigos. I hope you enjoy this first issue of Magnor as much as Mark and I enjoy doing it for you. Awesome!" And then the kids over here, "My sister opened my copy of Magnor. Now it's not mint. I have to buy another copy. Poor guy, what a tragedy." So I have 2 copies of this, no worries. I'm going to open this for the first time ever and decrease its value. But that's okay, I've got 2 copies, so let's get to it. And there we go, there's no going back. This issue can no longer be CGC 9.9 anymore. First of all, it feels heavier than a regular comic. This is card stock cover. Hey, look at that, the Super Nintendo Looney Tunes Roadrunner game. Okay, and then the front cover. So this is supposed to be the first time ever in comics pop-out cover. So again, I love gimmick covers. This is a pop-out cover. So how does it pop out? I've never seen this comic in real life popped out. Okay, so it kind of goes... How does it open up? What happens on the side over here? Looks like something... Looks like you have to cut it at the top or something. Okay, I'll do that in a moment. Does it say anywhere else what you need to do? Credit Sergio and Mark, lettering Stan Sakai, good old Stan Sakai. He has worked on his Usagi Yojimbo for decades, but still he does the lettering for these collabs. Tom Luth, he was always the longtime colorist. The cover color is Janelle Cruz. Interesting, why didn't Tom do the cover as well? Anyway, this is Malibu Comics, published in 1993, first printing. Wow, the 90s was a long time ago. So I'm just going to breeze through the story, pause it, read it on your own. Hilarious stuff is happening, I'm sure. I'm going to pause it here and there. We have a fur cosplay going on and stuff going on. Like I said, I don't really know what this comic is about very much, although I remember seeing it throughout the years. But we've got various costume changes, and we've got the Mighty Magnor. I'm sure some of it is autobiographical, because that looks like kind of like Mark Evanier a bit. And the cartoonist, of course, would be Sergio. So we've got the birth of a brand new superhero. Coloring is kind of interesting. Ooh, that's a cool pose. Paper quality seems slightly different than the usual. There's the usual comedy and bad jokes, and here's the villain character, and we're gonna have some action with the military base. Ooh, that's pretty cool there. I always love looking at the corners of a Sergio Aragones drawing, because there's stuff happening all over the place that you don't even notice. Can you believe that he's been around for decades making his amazing comics, as well as Mark? The moral of the story is, never take baths. Meglin's Tennis. Okay, I think that's an in-joke. Someone named Meglin worked in Mad Magazine, I believe. And then we have finally Magnor here coming to destroy stuff. I'm kind of getting deja vu. I feel I've seen this somewhere, but I don't remember ever doing a video on this comic. I don't know, this seems familiar for some reason. Well, this looks familiar, this freaking Pandemonium thing, where I remember filling this in and I never won. So back in the day, you fill in this puzzle, and then you paid to keep going in the puzzles, and you had to kind of fill in this word teasers and such, and the first one is easy, then they get harder and harder. And I remember me and my friend teamed up, and we couldn't solve it, and we didn't win the rig, so that was sad. Okay, so over here we've got an editorial. Pause it, read it on your own. Very cool. And then Magnor Spot Quiz. This picture depicts, etc. in the year 2099. Find the answers in the second issue. And then we've got Demon's Tales. About time I got my own miniseries. My own miniseries, What Is This? Created and written by Roland Mann. Illustrated by Paul Peltier and Tom Romano. Never heard of this. This is from Adventure Comics. Back when some publishers would take ad money for anything. But this does not seem familiar at all. Demon's Tales, Ronald Mann, 1992. Okay, and then the back. Okay, so the whole point of this was that I was going to, for the first time ever, open up the gimmick cover here. So I'm kind of feeling like, do I really want to make this no longer mint? Yes, I will. For my channel, I will do it. So I think you have to tear it up at the top over here. Okay, here it comes. This is the first time ever on YouTube, and you get to experience it, where the Mighty Magnor issue number 1 is being opened up for the first time ever. Okay, we're opening it. We're opening it. Whoa! So we've got an alternate cover. I gotta do some other footage of this on my other cameras. Let's switch over there. So this is a double cover where, okay, not a lot of action's going on here, like I said, but when you pop it open, so much action, it's popping out. It's popping out into the third dimension. A Sergio Aragones, Mark Evanier presentation for Malibu Comics. Watch out, kid, run with your dog. I always loved how running dogs looked hilarious. So everyone's running and running. We got so much action happening over here with the adventure and the hot dog cart and the water exploding over here and the creatures. This was totally worth it to open up the comic with its three-dimensionality. Totally number 1 best gimmick ever. Here it is on the side. What does it look like? Whoa. So, yeah, let me switch my camera view a little bit over here. Here we have the three-dimensionality. Let's get Chip from Chip and Dale's in there as a size reference. There's Chip. He's part of the action. He's not afraid of the monsters coming in. Let's have him interacting by posing over there. There's Magnor over there. Wow, this is pretty fun. So yeah, I've never opened up a first issue gimmick cover of the Mighty Magnor number 1 from 1993, published by Malibu Comics, created by Sergio Aragones and Mark Evanier. But I did it, and no longer is my comic mint. What a tragedy, but it was awesome to do so. This is another comic to add to my collection of gimmick covers that I will proudly put into my private collection. The first issue of Mighty Magnor from 1993.